channel this morning. Today we're going to show you how to smoke a whole pork butt. They're also referred to as a shoulder roast or whatever, found in the upper part of the shoulder of the pig. So just picked this up from the local shop yesterday. It was on sale for 99 cents a pound, which is a really good deal. Usually, I mean, they run anywhere from $1.49 to $1.89 a pound. We usually try to pick a few up when they're a lot cheaper. So get this set up for you and take you out to the smoker and get this going. So whole time, this thing takes about probably 8.5 to 9 hours to smoke. So we're going to get it prepared and get it outside on the smoker. So I'll show you what to do with this first. So just take a knife. There's two sides of the meat. There's one side that's really fatty. We call that the fat cap. Then you got the bottom side on the over here. This shoulder roast does have the bone in, and I prefer to leave the bone in because that seems to help with the flavor. Plus at the end, hopefully we'll show you a little trick when we get that ready to come out. So anyway, let's get going here. So I'm going to take a knife, whatever you got. I just have a plain knife because it's the sharpest one I got. So we're just going to cut this about every 3/4 of an inch diagonally through the top layer of fat. And what that's going to do is going to open up this fat cap and help some of the seasoning to get down in the meat and help that smoke get through the fat cap and do that. So get that cut all the way across here, and then we're going to turn around, come back the other way and do it. Alright. So as you can tell, that just opened up the top of that meat and get down in there through all that fat. So fat layer is about probably half an inch or so, something like that. So anyway, got a metal pan here. I always smoke with that because it's a lot easier to clean up the smoker. So this right here is my homemade rub. I don't usually buy commercial rub just because I'm kind of picky with flavors. I don't like stuff that's really super spicy. So all this is salt, black pepper, garlic, onion powder, paprika, and chili powder. And the red chili powder and the paprika helps give the pork roast a lot darker color on it. And so what we're going to do is just flip this over in the pan here and get this backside, and then get it seasoned up. And you want to use a pretty liberal coat. A lot of meat here, about 10 pounds of meat or better. Just kind of rub that, pat that in so it sticks. And we're just going to do that each and every side. Get that coated up real good. Some of the people at competition cook barbecue, they'll take this piece of meat right here. You can kind of tell by looking at it's round on the end of it. It's called a money muscle, and that's kind of a prime cut in the pork butt, and they'll cut that separate and let it cook. I don't do that. I've done it once. I didn't really see that it made that big a difference, and just for me cooking at home, it just really felt like it was kind of stupid to do that. So anyway, get this top side seasoned up here. I'm really kind of liberal with this because I'm going to get this and work that down into the cracks there where I made those slices so you can get all that seasoning down in there closer to the meat. Alright, so that's all seasoned up ready. I'm going to let this hang out for a little bit. As it gets out of the refrigerator, it comes up to room temperature, it's going to sweat a little bit. It's going to help that rub stick down to it. So while you're waiting for that to happen, half hour or so, we'll go ahead and get the smoker turned on and get ready to go with it. And then we'll pop this in the smoker and get it going. So anyway, I'll be back with you here in a few minutes, and we'll go ahead back out. Alright guys, we're back out here at the pit, and we've got everything fired up, and been running here probably about 15-20 minutes, something like that. So this is a Pit Boss vertical smoker, and I've had it for about 1.5 years probably. So real easy to use. Instead of using charcoal, it has a pellet hopper here in the back, and I use hickory on that Seems to have a real mild flavor on it. So got the smoker set on 250 degrees, and as you can tell, it's up to temperature. Got the meat probe in, got a water pan in the bottom there, always fill that up. There's always a big debate. Some people say you don't have to have it, some people say you do. I've always done it, never had a difference with it, so I don't know, that's up to you. But anyway, got the drip pan in there to catch drippings off the pork. The pork's all situated. Got the meat probe in. As I mentioned earlier, this pork shoulder has a bone in it, so when you put the temperature probe in, you want to be careful to keep that temperature probe away from the bone, and you want to get the probe in to the meat as far as you can without hitting the bottom grate. Just kind of put it in the middle and let it ride out. So anyway, we're going to keep this smoker hooked up here for about probably 4 or 5 hours, running at 250 degrees, and then we're going to check the internal temperature and see. Once we get up to about 160 degrees, we're going to pull it out and wrap it, and I'll show you a couple other tricks that I do with it, and then let it ride out. So we're going to look for about a finished product about 210 degrees, 212 degrees, and let it rest, and then we'll be ready to eat. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning right now, so we'll come back out here about noon and check on it and see what we're doing. So we'll see you in a little bit. Hey guys, welcome back. Come outside. It's been about 6 hours since I put this pork roast in the smoker. So I checked my temperature probe, and it's running about 160 degrees. So I'm going to get it out and do a couple more things to it and let it cook out the rest of the way. That's hot. Probe out now. Alright, so there we go. Like I said, we've been sitting in here for about 6 hours. So what I always do after I take it out, I usually go ahead and put some apple juice in it. Some people spritz theirs with apple juice through the whole cook. To me, it's got the drippings down in there, and we'll find out a little later why too, why I'm putting apple juice in there. So plus it just helps, once I wrap this up in aluminum foil, it's going to help steam this meat up pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and get this wrapped up pretty tight, put it back on, and I'm going to look for internal temperature about 210 degrees-ish. So just want to make sure you don't want to lose your heat. Get that wrapped up pretty tight. Go ahead and stick this temperature probe back in here. Remember the bone that's in there, so you want to make sure you don't hit the bone. I'm just going to put this in about halfway, and add some more water to the smoker. It'll help keep that temperature even throughout the rest of the cook. Alright, get this shut back up so we don't lose any more heat. I'm going to go ahead and crank this up to 300 degrees. Hopefully a couple, 3 more hours will be up to our internal temperature of 210 degrees, and then we'll pull it off and let it rest. So check back in with me later, and we'll see what this looks like. Alright guys, I got the pork butt pulled off the smoker. It hit about 207 degrees internal, so I went and pulled it, figured hit the internal temp by the time I got it inside. So I'm going to open this up, see what it looks like, and I'm going to pull this bone out. I'll have to let it cool before I shred it. So as you can see, it's all nice and browned up in there. It looks good. So bone that's over here on the back side, and give it a little tug. Oh, it pulled out clean, so we were done, so we were ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cool off a little bit, and then we're going to pull it, and then we'll be making some sandwiches here in a little bit, and we'll see what we got going in the final product. See you in a little bit. Alright, here we are. We got this meat cooled off, and I've got it put off on a cookie sheet here. I'm going to just shred it up, put it back in the pan that it was in, then we'll get it seasoned up and ready to have supper here in a little bit. So once again, we just pull the bone out of it, and I'm just going to reach in here and start pulling chunks of this meat off, and separate it into chunks like you have on a pulled pork sandwich. So hopefully it's cooled down enough when you get in there. And this As you can tell, this meat is just full of our tender. It's been sitting in that smoker for about 9.5 hours today, so a little longer than what I anticipated. I was figured it'd be done in about 8. This thing smells good. See that time, I went ahead and stopped the camera a little bit while I went ahead and shredded up that pork. So as you can see, I filled up that whole pan. So what I do now, I drain the apple juice off of that, and that's what I had in there earlier on the pit in the pan while it was smoking, and I covered it up. So that's just full of drippings and the seasoning that was off the pork. The stuff is in the bottom of the pan, and honestly, it's just a lot of flavor. So I don't usually barbecue my pulled pork, and that's just my personal preference. So we're just going to go ahead and add this in there. I'm going to go ahead and throw some more seasoning on this meat while we're adding that other stuff and get it mixed up. And we'll be ready to eat here in a few minutes. Just mix this around, get in there. I'm wearing a glove just because it's warm and it's a little easier to get in there and do that. Give this a quick hit. Alright, add a little bit of this juice in. I think we're all done, so go ahead and give it a little pitmaster privilege and see what we're looking at. That's good. Alright, if you guys like what you saw today, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to my channel, please, and look forward to doing some more videos. I got some bacon curing this week, so probably about Thursday, probably be looking at doing that. If there's anything you want to see or any questions, just make sure you drop them in the comment. And again, don't forget to subscribe, and smash that like button. Appreciate you all watching. Have a good weekend.